This is pimp.
This is straight
pimping.
G, yo.
This is straight up capital G, kids. Hey, let's rap.
Started out with a sweet dad rap.
Yo, my name is Curtis. I'm here to say I like to have fun every single day.
I don't encourage that bullshit. He thinks he's so fun.
We're gonna just make that the starting point? Is that how we want to start the video?
I should. Hey,
Welcome to the Gentleman Show. We're the gentlemen.
yeah, I'm Curtis Nash.
He's refusing to speak.
Josh Gruber.
And I'm Darren Wartz, and we have a jam-packed show as per usual.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
We're even kind of adding it as we went today.
Yeah.
I bought a new hat to celebrate with these two.
Boo!
Big fans of my new hat.
Boo! Star Trek. It's Star Trek. For those of you who can't see it, stupid Star Trek.
Look at that. Look at
Picked
that
it up at
sweet
Value
symbol.
Village.
Yeah.
Value Village.
Value Village.
No, they love it. You can't look me in the eye. You didn't like any of the Star Trek reboots? I could scroll back on a real review and you both just gave it ones?
How about you just shut your face?
That's what I thought. Funny how that happens. Well, aside from my hat, there's some pretty big news as well. Josh, you kick it off.
All right, the first big piece for DC news, there was Deathstroke was leaked by
Out of
through
nowhere!
Ben Affleck.
Is this
Yeah.
leaked? They call it leaked.
It's weird footage. It seems a little too CGI'd. When I first watched it, I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then it just kind of shows that it's off the camera. So I was like, okay. Ben Affleck essentially tweeted it with there's no words, no nothing. Just poof, here it is.
Yep.
So all of a sudden...
Speculation train.
Here we go. Let's kick it up in the high notch. Who can we get to play Deathstroke? And number one on the list, I can't say his name,
Joe Magniello.
So for the ladies
the
out
werewolf
there,
from True Blood.
Yeah.
that
The one who
or
loves
he's in
sucking.
Magic Mike, one of those guys. So yeah, he's number one on the list. And there are photos of him circulating on the internet
Of what
with
he
a
would look
shaved, like a shaved head. So it's just it's cropped high with a nice tight goatee. I was like, there it is. That's the look. He looks pretty good.
Loved it. I love the fact more if he's in Justice League, they're saying he might be in Justice League. I'm like, cool. But they're saying he's one of the main bad guys in the new Batman solo movie. I'm like, that's awesome. We've never seen this before. But couldn't they just saved it? Did they really have to show it to us?
Save it for a trailer or something?
Not even that. Just if he just popped up in, imagine if he just popped up in Justice League.
Yeah.
He'd be like, Deathstroke!
That's the thing that I find not concerning, but that interests me, because I've read a lot more stories that are saying that the plot of the standalone Batman movie is a fighting out of Arkham kind of plot line.
Yeah.
So maybe Deathstroke isn't the main villain.
he
He's
helps.
just one of many.
Maybe he helps.
You know,
Well,
there's
he anti-heroes every now and
Yeah,
then.
he's
doesn't he?
basically he's Deadpool.
Yeah.
He's DC's Deadpool.
Yeah.
That doesn't
But
regenerate.
you look at that one of the Batman Arkham games where Batman's trying to arrest there's all the hunters. There's the bounty on them.
Right.
There is probably one of the smoothest, most awesome cutscenes with Deathstroke and Batman fighting it out. And if we can put that on, onto the cinematic universe,
well,
man,
they're
we're good to
evenly
go.
matched.
And
They're basically the
wasn't
same
it,
person. He's like the Joker's kind of the anti-Batman, but
Right.
they're both the same kind of thing. They're both like rich.
They kind of both have.
He's a ninja
background.
who will
He's a
kill.
ninja.
He'll cross that line.
He'll cross the line basically.
In some,
For money.
in some,
Of course, so will Batman in this universe.
in some of the iterations, Deathstroke does have a type of super soldier serum, if you will.
Yeah.
He is augmented a bit.
He's a little loopy.
In terms of skill, fighting prowess, him and Batman pretty much on par. Batman will always have the one up, but
Well, and like you were mentioning
Some
with
good
that,
fights, yeah.
with that sweet cutscene, that wasn't that Tim Miller who directed Deadpool, directed that movie video
that
game
sequence.
trailer
Yeah.
sequence? And that was, like I said, I remember watching that and saying to myself, that needs to just be a movie.
yeah.
Because that was so incredible. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was at first from Arrow when I saw it, before I saw that it was actually
Like
him.
you said, did you think it was a little too
Yeah,
CGI?
and-
Something was off.
And there is only one Deathstroke costume really and one variation, but it looked very Arrow. And then but then as I watched it longer, it did seem a lot more DCEU with the tone of it, and there was the steam
more of the
shooting out.
armor type
Right?
look.
Which with Flash, he's more armored
Justice,
up.
yeah.
And that's the route that they're going. But I'm pumped for this because, like you said, we've never seen Deathstroke as a villain on the big screen.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I think this is the first taste of Jeff Johns. That's probably why they filmed how much. They gave us a gorgeous trailer and they showed this pre-footage
Yeah.
3 weeks after Jeff Johns gets on.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Jeff Johns.
I'm hoping
I think that was all him.
like, we obviously know kind of if Batman vs Superman is any indication who the bad guy is set up for Justice League.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to kind of see those introductions, plop a few bad guys in there, not anything that they necessarily need to deal or handle throughout the entire movie. But if Deathstroke does make an appearance in Justice League, then you know he's just setting it up for the standalone Batman.
I give it.
Yeah, you take it.
I give it 70% thumbs up just because it's so cool, but 30%, you still should have kept it hidden from us.
You do. You love your secrets too much, though.
I love my secrets.
I do, but I mean, like, the standalone Batman movie doesn't even have a release date yet, so don't be giving me villains and like shots of you
that's what
making
I
it.
mean.
I can agree with you on that, but I just hope that Deathstroke is just a moment in the movie. Like I said, if it's an Arkham fighting your way out where he gets tricked into going there, and I don't really want to see Leto's Joker in it. Maybe like as he's walking past in a padded room, Joker's in there laughing.
Right.
A little flavor like that would be sweet, but I want to see him like he has to come across Bane, Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, and all of these villains. Give me the Batman rogues in that movie, and then you can set up for the standalones going forward, where then Joker breaks out at the end, or like something along that. I think would be really cool.
That's how you build a universe, DC.
Again, Warner Brothers, call us. We know what we're talking about, and also we got a lot of movie trailers and TV trailers and teasing trailers for what was going on with movies.
There's some good ones.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start out. The one I was really impressed with, and it didn't really hook me. I wasn't really excited for the show, but I was going to watch it anyway. Was Westworld until the mature trailer dropped.
Holy
I had no idea
I
what this
never
show
even
was
heard
about.
of it. Never even heard of it.
I think it was based on a book, or it was a TV show at one point a while ago.
Yeah.
But the synopsis of the plot of the show is that it's kind of almost like in Gamer, you can plug in and go into this fake world where you take on a... Remember them with Gerard Butler?
I know, he was awful.
I love Gamer. Are you kidding me?
That was your
Peter
go-to.
Petrelli with his
That
little
was your go-to.
spangly.
It's like Gamer.
Well, but when they go to like the
I know,
Sims
I know,
universe,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
kind of what goes on, but you're in the Wild Wild West, and it's robot kind of...
More like a homegrown android.
Yeah,
type.
kind of, and that's what your consciousness goes into, I believe, and then you control the robots. So then you can get into duels and you don't die in real life, kind of thing. And then all hell breaks loose. Anthony Hopkins is crazy, and thus the story.
It looks
continues.
fantastic. It's got Western and sci-fi. I love Western movies.
Boom. You know,
love sci-fi.
you posted the trailer for me, so right away Westworld, I was like, oh, like Waterworld. Like, Waterworld.
You're going to his Gamer and Waterworld.
Waterworld, and then like you said, it kind of reminds me of like a Ready Player One type. But like you said, that there's, you're uploading your consciousness into these machines where you live in the Wild West. But then you come out and it's so futuristic and sci-fi. It's such a hard clash of like two different genres, but it works. Yeah. It looks so cool.
Yep.
So I'm pretty excited. HBO is doing it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be cool.
I think this is the next Game of Thrones. Unless they blow the pooch big time.
I don't think they will. And like you said, they're putting all their eggs in there because they need that fantasy to go forward. It's like you said, it's Game of Thrones. We're going to see boobs and flaccid penises like you've never seen before inside of the show. But even when there was like
6 shooters
with no pants on. But when there was like that one scene where Anthony Hopkins is at like his big brother table, and they're like, that world is almost like a map on the table, like an RPG map would be, or something, Heroescape, but in real life.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. And like you said, like I know kind of what it's about, but I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah.
The robots are going to become self-aware
which is good.
and fight.
It's called a tease, DC.
And back again. But I'm really excited for that show. I think it's going to take up the mantle that Game of Thrones is going to be.
Do we know when it's coming out?
No,
October?
I think it's the end of September, right close to October.
There you go, people.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Well, it seems we got to wait till next summer for Game of Thrones now, apparently. At least HBO's getting on the ball with that.
Yeah.
Another interesting trailer, which is meh to me, but I hear other people are pretty excited for it. The Blair Witch remake?
Yeah.
Not remake, continuation,
The first trailer dropped at San Diego Comic-Con barely a month ago.
Yeah.
But it comes out in 2 weeks, so they decided to do their second trailer.
Yep.
It was terrifying. It was scarier than the first one, I thought. And majority of it is a girl crawling through a tunnel.
Which is terrifying to me.
Which was terrifying.
It's so claustrophobic. You're
because
like,
you can tell she actually had to do it. I think half that acting wasn't acting.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely awful. But yeah, you said a continuation is how many years later? It's like it was a sister apparently in the original.
Yeah.
And they're going to investigate. More found footage. But just the buzz coming out of this at a San Diego Comic-Con is phenomenal. Saying it's one of the scariest movies they've seen in a long time.
So obviously,
they always say that.
No, they don't.
And obviously with like the found footage stuff, Blair Witch was, is the grandfather. Yep. They're the ones who brought this out originally. So you can expect it to be, really polished. It's going to look better than the original one did. I remember, like the original one,
little sticks.
Well, they're running, so that's all you see is the camera going like this, and you're like, I don't know what's chasing.
It's handheld cameras now. It's no camera,
right?
So they can run with this because they got the cool part was I noticed in this trailer is they're filming, but they're using their lights, so they have to hold it in front of them. Yeah. That's what I like.
No one has a GoPro.
Come on, man! It's only 2000. You don't know what year this is. This could have been 2010 for crying out loud.
If you were exploring a haunted dungeon / cabin, would you use a GoPro?
Well, you guys wait. Let me get my drone going.
Drone flying in.
That's the thing that I like with the confined space of everything, and I hope that we get to see the Blair Witch. I want to see a fully fleshed out version of it in this one, but I just don't like the shaky cam when they're running and it's just oh my god, and all you see, like you said, is just random landscapes all over the place. That's why Chronicle was the only found footage movie I liked, because Josh Trank worked in, once his telekinesis came, he was controlling the cameras, and then it turned into a filmed movie.
That's true.
And they handled it in a way that took it from found footage to an actual film. I just don't like shaky cam.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of the handheld shaky cam.
But if it's done right.
Yeah, if it's done...
That's like anything. That's the stupidest answer I've ever heard. If it's done right, Curtis.
For sure.
Anything's good if it's done right.
But if you have the majority of the movie as hand cam, a lot of people aren't going to enjoy it. So I think they know what they're doing. They know what what people expect nowadays. There's obviously a ton of movies out there that have done the hand cam, shot, so I think it'll be polished, it'll be done well. So
do you think a movie like this, if they were to have done the Blair Witch originally and like this, do you think it would be more scary or less scary if they would have made it an actual movie that wasn't found footage?
Less scary.
You think so?
Yeah.
The original? Oh yeah, that's what made the original.
Yeah.
Still, I'm not so, I'll see it, but I won't like it, Dan.
And the other thing too is to actually see the Blair Witch, that's, you take any horror movie, any scary movie, as soon as you see that bad guy, it's no longer scary.
But if they ground it in reality where it's makeup, like how The Witch was, where it's, where they can make it realism, or maybe she's just a shadow. That's what the Blair Witch is. She's a silhouette
shadow
the whole time.
I'll accept.
Shadow monster I can get on board with.
Off in the distance, I don't want to see somebody holding up the camera and you see.
I just didn't there was she was building stick men in the trees, and I'm just that's not scary. That's just.
Well, she's in the woods the whole time. She's got to do some kind of craft.
She's got arts and crafts going up. Been living here for 600 years.
Whittling stick figures.
Just the Blair Witch. Whittling in the forest.
Are you doing this? Are you doing this? No, it's just the witch.
Another horror movie trailer that came out late last week was the sequel to The Ring. Wait for it, Rings.
Woo!
I don't know about this.
This one's been
it's been
we've talked about
Baker's dozen of years here.
We've talked about when a movie does a sequel and it's like Avatar, it's past its expiration, nobody cares. So Rings. It's like you said, it's the exact same story.
You were just talking about how excited you were for Blair Witch, which was 20 years ago? It's suddenly a sequel.
That's a good idea. The Rings. How different can you do a Rings?
There's
movie?
Definitely movies that you can do sequels to, as opposed to The Ring / Grudge /
everything.
That's all the Japanese horror stuff, right? So
it looks the same, just with better special effects, and they put a technology spin on it. It's not a VHS. People are watching on their iPads.
It's an MP4.
Yeah, exactly.
But you still get called on the old rotary phone.
Which people still have. For some reason. Maybe she loves the vintage. You don't know that. Those people exist these days.
Kids in their vintage.
Right? But I don't know. Like you were saying, it does seem like they're following the exact same formula of the first.
Yeah.
Some guy's investigating it. The woman gets caught in the mix. I don't know what route they're going to take it. How are they going to tell? With Blair Witch, they're telling a different story. With this one, they're just telling the same story again.
That's what this is coming across to
I
me.
kind of caught, watching the trailer, I've seen it twice. It kind of sounds like that the ring girl that was stuck in the well is trying to possess this.
When she's pulling the hair out, it's like
she's slowly turning into this chick.
And that's what I'm wondering too. And there is supposed to be an inceptional video within the original Ring video, and that's what this movie's about. Is that there's more than one video like kind of hidden in the digital
They
file.
didn't have the proper Photoshop 15 years ago.
Well, it was just VHS.
To find it. Just VHS.
I think Samara had to take it out, get one of those little tapes. She had to rip
break it down.
She had to get a PVR, invent a PVR. So yeah, I don't know. If my anticipation for the Rings remake, again, I'll watch it, but I won't like it. Damn it.
That's kind of us too. You know, it's when it comes to scary movies, we get excited.
I'm not expecting
We go
much.
see it. But yeah, are we expecting a whole lot from this one? No, I'm expecting a bit more than Blair Witch, but Rings, like I said, I'm gonna go see it. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
The Ring. Then I guess you can't really call it a trailer, but kind of a "What's Thor been up to" video.
Man, that was funny.
Yeah.
It was already circulating around Comic-Con because I saw something similar to this. I remember the comedian who's in the video with him tweeted it like in July or something. And now it's kind of making its rounds again, I think, to push for Thor Ragnarok. But it's like, what's Thor been up to
during the Civil War?
During Civil War and since then. Chris Hemsworth needs to do more comedy. Because he is just, when he's got like, oh, here's Mira just taking a nap. And it's just in this little tiny bed like
got
that.
Got some meat sitting out for a couple weeks. Should be almost ready.
And here's a drawing of Mira holding me.
Yeah,
it's like, so good. His interactions with Bruce Banner and everything.
Yeah, it was funny how they got like the Bruce Banner to do
Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
I
Mark
couldn't think of his
Ruffalo.
name for a second.
I go to Edward Norton right away, even though he's not the best one, right? It's Mark Ruffalo. But yeah, Mark Ruffalo does it, and it's funny because throughout the entire thing, like, he goes to Australia to unwind. He moves in with just an average Joe named Daryl. So like Daryl's vacuuming the floor, Mjolnir's hanging out, and he's like,
can't get around it.
Yeah. So funny things like that, and then when he's hanging out with Mark Ruffalo, you know, he's telling him like, "Oh, nobody's called me to like fight on their team," and he's feeling a little left out. And at that moment, like Tony Stark calls Mark Ruffalo. And
they've been
like,
talking on and off since.
He's like, "Oh, I got Thor here. You want to talk to him? Oh, you don't have time." So like, he's so sad. He's like, "Tell him I don't have a phone to send a raven." You know, things like that.
I forgot about that. Send a raven.
Good like improv. You know, it's not scripted. No. So it's just him having fun.
This is Marvel. See, because we follow the nerd news like all day, pretty much. This is for the people who don't. Yeah. They're like, "Oh yeah, Thor's still coming out next year." You know, I think that's their ploy in all this is.
I was gonna say the only reason why I think the Bruce Banner was in there was obviously like it's been said that Hulk is on Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Or on Asgard with Thor, so that's kind of cool that they had them both in there, Mark Ruffalo.
So do you think that this is their way of now we're going to see a trailer soon? I'm still banking on hopefully seeing at least a teaser before Doctor Strange in November.
No, that'll be Guardians. You'll see Thor during Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
that's true.
For sure. Thor is still
this
quite
is
a ways
their teaser,
away.
Just to get the juices flowing and thinking like, oh yeah, that movie's happening still.
Kind of off the train of thought here for when it comes to just speculation for Thor Ragnarok.
Perfect.
What do you think and how do you think they're going to handle Hulk talking and being more self-aware in this movie? Because that's something that they're going to need to handle when it gets to Planet Hulk or even when you get to any of the Hulk stories. He's talking, he's interacting, he's not going back into banner form, and he's saying permanently Hulk.
Maybe.
So, do you think that's going to look good? Do you think that they have an idea for it?
I think it'll look fine.
I think maybe he gets like a spell cast on him.
I'm just curious how it's gonna, because we've seen and heard Hulk talk once. Puny God.
Puny.
Yeah.
God.
And it was kind of Ruffalo with a bit of layers underneath the voice.
I think as long as it's gruff like that, I don't want to hear Mark Ruffalo speak.
I don't think
are we gonna get a personality for Hulk though?
I don't think you're gonna get like giant monologues for the Hulk.
No.
He's just gonna be smashing stuff.
But he can't be Bruce Banner. Like I don't want to see. I want to see Hulk.
I can see them leading like out of Avengers 2 where he flies away in the Quinjet. Let's say from that moment on, like I could see him not going back to Bruce Banner. Because if he does go out into space or, to Asgard, he needs to be more durable. He can't be human, right? So he's going to stay in Hulk. Who's to say if he doesn't stop off, like, Planet Hulk or finds an army, whatever, right? But I have a feeling he'll be in Hulk mode for quite some time. So you will see him speaking. Like I said, you're not going to see him quoting Shakespeare or anything. But
that would be amazing. They need to. Shakespeare in the Park. They already put that little Easter egg in there. I've been watching Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon from 2010.
Yeah.
I hope that they handle Hulk and Banner in that sense, where he's seeing Mark Ruffalo in reflections and like having inner dialogue that way, and that way Mark Ruffalo can still get some screen time with his face and not just be CGI animated the whole time. But I'm thinking that's the route that they might take with that, and then I think that it would be, because it would be cool to see Ruffalo and animated Ruffalo having an argument about like a situation and how to get out of it in like a reflection or like in a puddle, you know, Zoolander style.
Kind of like, listen to me, big lug.
I think that's one of the things I've been the most worried for is having so much Hulk in it. He's a completely CGI character, and then he has to talk and he needs to feel real.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they have a handle on it.
I mean, he's never looked bad in any of the Marvel stuff.
Well, the first one with Eric Bana, he didn't look too good.
No. So any of the Marvel stuff.
Not fighting poodles is a little different story.
Not like original Hulk and not Edward Norton Hulk. But I mean Marvel stuff. Since his very first time since the Avengers, and since then, from what we've seen, he's only gotten better.
And by the time I guess Thor Ragnarok comes out, the technology will be incredible.
Yeah. Just a lot of spit and polish on it. It's gonna look good.
Dynamite, you could say.
I know. He was on my lips.
Dynamite muy bueno. And then for some more upsetting news this week, everybody got some pretty bad news. And they found out that actor, comedian, legend Gene Wilder passed away at the age of 83.
For a guy, who hasn't done anything in how many years. But you still, you're like, Gene Wilder?
Yeah.
Willy Wonka, man.
Yeah. I was reading today. Do you know why he hasn't been acting in any comedies or anything lately?
He was...
The vulgarity of it. He doesn't like acting in movies that have so much swearing. He wanted comedy movies to be about comedy and not having to drop F-bombs to be funny. So that's why he just stepped out, because he doesn't like doing that kind of comedy. Or didn't enjoy
I know, what was he fighting? He was diagnosed with...
Alzheimer's.
So, apparently it was pretty severe. That's what he lost his life to. But for the past 3 years, he's been battling it. And it was him that said, do not release it to the press. I don't want my fans to know, just my family. Let's keep... He wanted to just make everybody smile. He didn't want everybody thinking of him the way he was, right?
Yeah.
So, and I mean, you get the news, and then you go back and you see all the clips that everybody's posting of their favorite things.
Young Frankenstein.
Willy Wonka, Blazing Saddles.
Victor von Frankenstein. It was like a weird, it was a different Frankenstein.
Call me, it's not it's Vor.
Just slight variations on everything. I'm watching Charlie and the Chocolate Factory tonight. I gotta.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in so long.
The old one. Yeah,
No, not the one with Johnny Depp, that pile.
Well, that's just it though. It's those older movies, right? That they're a little bit more special to us because that's what we grew up with, right?
We watched it in school. I remember because we had finished reading the book and they made us watch it on the old VHS.
Gene Wilder, another sad one this year. It's been an awful year for
2016 for celebrities. We lost Bowie. Was it? No, Robin Williams was a year ago. I remember we just had the anniversary in April. But there's been so many celebrities this year in just we're not even 3/4 of the way through the year.
Yeah, they were really dropping hard there back in spring. Let's hope we post through the rest of the year.
Cleaning his gun.
So pleasant about it. They've been dropping hard.
I remember back in Da Nang, those bastards in the trees coming at me. We don't mean to be laughing.
No.
And then to move on out of that to more...
Almost as depressing.
I was gonna say it, but then I wasn't going to.
I'll say
arguably more depressing than the story we just talked about. Transformers is making some decisions with their casting and who they're doing it for.
I think we've discussed this on Real Reviews. I don't know if it was for our year special, what we were anticipating. I just remember talking about Transformers and talking about how they're bringing in Excalibur, so they were bringing in King Arthur, Merlin, Knights of the Round Table.
That's
and
awful.
I was like, what? How are we doing this?
Are we time traveling now, Transformers?
Yeah.
I read the plot for it, and I was like, oh my god. He goes, supposedly Optimus Prime goes back to Cybertron. Cybertron's destroyed. He gets told there's only one way to bring Cybertron back, and that's to find Excalibur. Where's Excalibur? Back on Earth. Let's go back to Earth, find this crazy sword that can bring Cybertron back to
So
life.
obviously there's flashbacks. I don't think they actually go back in time.
But only...
I don't know.
No, but I guess Excalibur won't be in the stone anymore because that story's already passed.
How is Michael Bay gonna do time travel back in time when you can't...
How's Michael Bay keep getting jobs?
You
blow stuff up, man.
In medieval times, there's no American flags or chicks in bikinis.
Yeah, that's right.
How's he gonna do a slow motion pan around a stomach of a 22-year-old?
No gratuitous flag shots.
Oh my god.
I know, man. America.
The first Transformers movie, maybe it was just, I'd have to go back and watch it again, but maybe it was just the nostalgia of seeing it live action like that. But the first Transformers movie I liked, or loved rather. The third one I liked. Everything else has been pond scum.
3 and 4, I think, are basically the same movie almost.
Do you think that...
And Mark Wahlberg always sounds like he's about to start crying when he talks.
So hey, go.
Hey, bro. We're gonna get out of this.
So how do you love him?
So do you think that it's safe
I'm
to
trying
say
to provide for this family.
that there's these two generations? There's us who grew up with the 80s cartoons.
Which is still the greatest Transformers movie ever.
Yeah. But then there's these kids that have kind of grown up with the cinematic movies. Because these movies are still so loved.
Because they make billions of dollars.
They still make all this money.
But
who's doing
understand it?
Who's paying for it?
Overseas, they eat it up because out east they love big monster battles and robot battles.
So I have a feeling that, I mean, it's kind of, it's missed its mark with us. But it has this other generation that's just eating it up.
It's not, they could hit the mark, it's just Michael Bay sucks. Like, they could... I remember Beast Wars, loving it so much, and then I'm just like, oh my god, we get Dinobots and the new one. Ruined it. Wasn't good. And then like all of these things he's taking from like the best parts of Transformers lore and bringing it on the big screen and ruining it. Like they're supposed to bring Unicron into this movie. It's probably gonna suck.
Yep.
Get James Gunn to make a Transformers movie, and we would have ourselves a glorious run.
Yeah, Michael Bay. Too much.
Like even his last Ship TV show, I watched like 2 episodes, and I was just like, done with it.
His time was over in the 90s.
I'm trying to think of that last Michael Bay movie I liked was Armageddon, but even still, if I go back, it's explosions and Ben Affleck's horrible as you go down under. There's animal crackers. But yeah, and the franchise is gonna keep going. They have this one's being made, and then there's supposed to be 3 more slated.
We're creating a universe now.
The Hasbro universe exists now, where G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah, they want to do their big crossover with
G.I. Joe and
Turtles
stuff
and Transformers and G.I. Joe.
That is not a good idea.
They're taking the Marvel thing.
I wouldn't even want to see that movie. Even if I had to review it, I'd be like, is there a Nicholas Sparks movie playing that weekend?
Everything I would hate with that movie.
I hate Nicholas Sparks.
You're gonna make me watch a Michael Bay pile of steaming poop with a Channing Tatum G.I. Joe in it, which I hate.
Driving
all of these horrible movies and put them in a horrible universe. It's just like it's like the Universal Monster Extended Universe that they're putting together. Where
I was so excited for that.
That has potential because they haven't ruined it with 16 horrible movies before it.
No, they've had one decent movie, but they got good cast, man.
For
they got good cast.
Like the Mummy's up next, and that's
Tom Cruise,
right?
Russell Crowe is supposed to be Dr. Jekyll.
Come on, let's bring it home, Universal.
I'm
bring home them
about
monsters.
Right? I guess we're bringing home this podcast because that
segue.
Right? I do this for a living, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what you think about everything we talked about. If we missed anything, if you loved it, if you hated it, anything, we like to talk in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to Real Reviews.
At Real Reviews 00, man.
That's on Twitter.
Not the man,
just
me. Just a 00.
At on Darren, and find me on YouTube, Darren on Aaron VO. I remember when you plugged with our Twitter last video.
Yeah, we still haven't done that.
Still haven't put together
Kurt's
Twitter
on
yet, but
Kurt's on it.
That's completely fine. We don't need one. We'll just be an egg anyway.
And stay tuned next week for more dad raps.